Promise you'll write to me every week.
Don't forget to look after your sister.
We'll come for you as soon as it's safe.
The label was tied to his coat with a piece of string. It had his name on it, his address in London, his mother's name, a number assigned by the evacuation authority. He was 6 years old. He stood on the platform at Paddington Station in September 1939 and watched his mother's face until a crowd came between them and he could not see her anymore. He did not cry. He had promised her he would not cry because she was crying, and he understood in a specific way that a 6-year-old understands without being able to name it, that if he cried too, then neither of them would be able to stop, and the train would leave, and he would still be on the platform. So he held a specific small suitcase, and he wore the specific cardboard label, and he did not cry, and the train left, and his mother's face disappeared into the crowd. He was gone for 4 years. The British government's evacuation program, Operation Pied Piper, which began in September 1939, and which eventually moved approximately 3.5 million children from the cities to the countryside, was one of the largest movements of children in human history. It was also one of the largest unplanned psychological experiments, though no one called it that at the time. 3.5 million children were separated from their parents and placed in unfamiliar homes in unfamiliar places at an age when the specific attachment to the specific parent is the specific foundation on which everything else is built. And then, when the specific war was over, they were returned to the specific parents who had changed in the specific 4 years, and who were returning to the specific children who had also changed in the specific 4 years. And everyone was opposed to simply resume. They did not simply resume. The specific resumption that the specific end of the war was supposed to produce turned out to be more complicated than the specific official narrative of the returning child and the welcoming parent suggested. And the specific complications have been the subject of the specific increasing historical and psychological attention in the decades since the specific people who lived through it have begun to speak about it. Before I tell you the specific stories of the specific children who were sent away and the specific families they came back to, I want to ask you directly. Subscribe and share this episode. The war children of the London evacuation are one of the specific least discussed human consequences of the Second World War in Britain. The specific generation that was shaped by the specific separation in the specific most formative years, and that carried the specific consequences of the specific shaping into the specific adult lives. Subscribe and hit the like button. Back to the boy on the platform with the label tied to his coat. The specific psychological research on the long-term consequences of the British evacuation, conducted primarily in the decades after the war, when the specific children had become the specific adults who could be studied and interviewed, has produced findings that confirm what the specific memoirs and the specific oral histories suggest about the specific outcomes. The research consistently finds that the evacuation produced a specific range of outcomes correlated with the specific quality of the specific placement. Children placed in warm and stable households generally fared better than children placed in cold or unstable ones. Children who maintained regular contact with their parents, through letters and occasional visits, fared better than children whose contact was interrupted. Children who were placed with families similar in culture and class to their own fared better than children whose placement involved a significant class or cultural disruption. These findings are not surprising. They confirm the specific principles of the specific developmental psychology that would have predicted them. What is more interesting and more specific to the evacuation is a finding that even the children in the best placements showed specific long-term effects from the separation that the children who were not evacuated did not show. The specific study that compared evacuated adults to non-evacuated adults of the same generation found that the evacuated adults, on average, showed higher rates of specific attachment-related difficulties, the specific wariness, the specific difficulty with intimacy, the specific particular patterns of the specific person who has experienced the specific disruption of the specific primary attachment in the specific formative years, than the non-evacuated adults. The specific effects were present even in the best placements. The specific separation, in itself, had the specific cost. This finding has significant implications for the specific moral accounting of the evacuation. The specific official narrative presents the evacuation as an unambiguous good. The specific decision that saved the specific children from the specific Blitz. This is true. The specific Blitz killed approximately 43,000 British civilians, and the specific children who remained in London were at the specific risk that the specific evacuation addressed. The specific decision saved lives. The specific decision also cost lives, not the specific mortal lives, but the specific psychological lives of the specific children who experienced the specific separation. The specific cost was real, and it was borne by the specific children, not by the specific authority that made the specific decision. And the specific full accounting of the specific evacuation requires acknowledging both the specific lives saved and the specific cost paid. Peter wrote about this in the memoir with the specific careful balance of a person who has thought about it for 40 years and who wants to be fair. He wrote, "I do not think the specific evacuation was wrong. I think the specific decision was a specific reasonable decision in the specific conditions. The specific bombs were falling, and the specific children were in danger, and the specific authority had the specific responsibility to address the specific danger. I think they addressed it. I also think the specific cost was real and was not acknowledged, not by the specific authority, which could not acknowledge it without acknowledging the specific harm that the specific decision had produced, and which was not inclined to make that acknowledgement, not by the specific parents, who had made the specific hardest decision of the specific lives, which was to send the specific children away, and who needed to believe that the specific hardest decision had been the specific right one, and not by the specific children themselves, who had grown up into the specific adults who had managed the specific cost in the specific private forms and who had not been given the specific public framework for naming it. He named it in the memoir. The specific naming was the specific act of the specific 62-year-old man who had spent the specific 40 years understanding what the specific label on the code at Paddington Station had produced in the specific life. He named it. Other evacuees named it too. The specific wave of the specific memoir and the specific oral history that the specific 1980s and 1990s produced, when a specific generation of the specific evacuated children had reached the specific age at which the specific retrospective becomes possible and the specific speaking becomes available. The specific wave of the specific naming produced the specific acknowledgement that the specific official narrative had not provided. The specific evacuees told their specific stories. The specific historians heard them. The specific understanding of the specific evacuation became more complete. Not the specific simple story of the specific saved children, but the specific complex story of the specific children who were saved and transformed and sometimes harmed, and who came back to the specific homes that had changed in the specific 4 years, and who were themselves the specific different children from the specific children who had left. Margaret came back from Exeter speaking differently and expecting differently. Her parents were proud and bewildered. She went to university and became a teacher and carried the specific class mobility that the specific evacuation had produced for the rest of the specific life. Thomas came back from Wales carrying the specific cold house and the specific not wanting. He built a life and spoke about it 50 years later in the specific oral history interview and did not protect the specific authority from the specific accounting. Peter came back from Shropshire with the specific label in his coat pocket. He had kept it, inexplicably even to himself at the time, and he would only understand why 40 years later, when the memoir required the understanding, and with the specific self-sufficiency and the specific wariness that the specific 4 years had produced. All three of them came back. The specific bombs had not killed them. The specific evacuation had saved them from the specific Blitz and made them the specific particular people they became, and the specific particular people they became were the specific people who built the specific post-war British lives that the specific post-war Britain required. They are the specific generation of the specific greatest transformation in British social history. The specific post-war generation that built the National Health Service and the welfare state, and the specific post-war British society, from the specific ruins of the specific war. Some of them were the specific evacuees who had been transformed by the specific separation. The specific transformation contributed to the specific post-war transformation, the specific class mobility, the specific educational expansion, the specific particular qualities of the specific generation that had been sent away as children and had returned as the specific somewhat different people. The specific label is in Peter's daughter's keeping. The specific oral history is in the archive. The specific memoir is in the libraries. The specific boy who stood on the platform at Paddington Station in September 1939 with the label tied to his coat became the specific man who wrote about standing there in 1985. And the specific man's daughter is carrying the specific label now. The war sent him away. He came back. He never came back exactly the same. He wrote about what the not coming back exactly the same had made of him. Subscribe and share this story. The war children of the London evacuation deserve to be known for what the separation produced in them, not just for the specific saving from the specific Blitz, but for the specific cost of the specific saving, which they paid in the specific currency of the specific 4 years. That is the full accounting of the war children who were sent away to survive and who never came back quite the same. The specific other children whose stories illuminate the range of the evacuation experience represent both the specific varied outcomes and the specific shared core of what the separation produced. There was a girl named Margaret who was sent at the age of 8 to a middle-class family in Exeter. Her experience was, by the specific material measure, better than Peter's. The specific family was warm and demonstrative, and she was treated, by all accounts she is given, with the specific genuine kindness of people who genuinely wanted to care for her. She was not lonely in the specific external sense. She was not cold or underfed or treated unkindly. She was also, in the specific 4 years of the specific placement, becoming a different kind of person than the specific working-class London girl she had been. The specific Exeter family, educated, middle class, with the specific particular habits and the specific particular assumptions of the specific particular class, spoke differently, ate differently, organized a specific household differently, expressed expectations about the specific Margaret differently than the specific London home had expressed them. She was being formed in the specific most plastic years, in the specific different mold. She returned to London in 1944, the parents who spoke with the specific accent she no longer quite had, who ate the specific food she had grown unfamiliar with, who inhabited the specific world she had grown somewhat away from. She loved them. She was also, privately, aware of the specific distance that the specific 4 years had produced, the specific class distance, the specific cultural distance, the specific educational distance. She went to university. This was not a thing that the specific London working-class family she came from expected of its daughters in 1950. It was a thing that the specific Exeter family had expected of its own children, and that had become, in the specific 4 years of the specific formation, something that Margaret expected of herself. The specific evacuation had produced a specific class mobility, not by intention, not by design, but by the specific accident of the specific placement in the specific family. Her parents were proud. They were also, in a way she understood better as she grew older, slightly bewildered by the specific daughter who had come back from the evacuation speaking and thinking, and expecting in ways that the specific community of the specific London street did not recognize as theirs. The specific class dimension of the evacuation, the specific ways that the specific children placed in the specific different social environments were formed by those environments in the specific formative years, is one of the more complex and less discussed aspects of the specific experience. The specific official narrative of the evacuation was the specific narrative of safety, of the specific children removed from the specific danger, and the specific successful protection of the specific children of the specific nation. The specific unofficial story, the specific story of the specific formation happening in the specific evacuation households, the specific children being made into the specific different people by the specific environments, is a specific less comfortable story that the specific official narrative did not address. Peter was made more self-sufficient and more wary of attachment by the specific 4 years in the specific Shropshire farmhouse. Margaret was made more educated and more class mobile by the specific 4 years in the specific Exeter middle-class family. Both were transformed. Neither was simply preserved and returned. The transformation was a specific point, whether or not it was a specific intention. There was a third child whose story I want to tell. A boy named Thomas who was sent to an abusive household in Wales, and whose specific experience was a specific darker version of the evacuation that the specific official records acknowledge as having occurred, but that the specific number is not precisely known. The specific estimate that a significant minority of the evacuated children were placed in households that range from neglectful to actively harmful is based on specific complaints and the specific reports that the specific Paddington Authority received during the specific war, and that the specific historians have since documented. The specific children who were harmed in the specific evacuation households had the specific most difficult experience of the specific separation, separated from the specific parents who would have protected them, and placed with the specific people who did not. Thomas's experience was a specific case of the specific neglect, not the specific act of violence, but the specific ongoing absence of the specific care that the specific child requires, the specific cold house and the specific insufficient food, and the specific dismissal that the specific unwanted evacuee experiences in the specific household that did not want a specific evacuee. He survived. He returned to London in 1943 to the specific parents who had sent him away in good faith, trusting the specific authority that had told them their children would be safe. He carried the specific experience into the specific adult life in the specific ways that the specific neglect produces, the specific difficulty with a specific trust, the specific patterns of the specific person who has learned that the specific authority cannot be relied upon and that the specific care cannot be assumed. He spoke about it in the specific oral history interview he gave in the 1990s, after the specific distance of 50 years had made the specific speaking possible. He was direct about it. Direct in the specific way of the specific person who has spent 50 years understanding the specific thing and who is no longer willing to protect the specific authority from the specific accounting. He said, "They told my mother I would be safe. I was not safe. I was cold, and I was hungry, and the people who had been given me did not want me. My mother did not know this. She thought I was safe in the Welsh countryside. I was 6 years old in a cold house in Wales, being not wanted by people who had been paid to want me." He survived. He did not. He was careful about this. He did not blame his mother. She had done what she had been told was the right thing. In the specific conditions of the specific Blitz, when the specific bombs were falling on the specific London streets, she had sent him away to save his life. The specific authority that had placed him with the specific wrong family was the specific authority that bore the specific responsibility for the specific harm. He survived. He built a life. He spoke about it. The specific range of the evacuation experience, from Peter's specific functional and survivable loneliness to Margaret's specific class transformation to Thomas's specific neglect, represents a specific range of the specific outcomes of the specific largest child movement in British history. The specific 3.5 million children were not all Peter. They were not all Margaret. Some of them were Thomas. The specific British government has never formally acknowledged the specific harm to the specific children who were placed in the specific harmful households. The specific apology, the specific formal institutional acknowledgement that the specific authority bore the specific responsibility for the specific harm to the specific children has not been issued. The specific debate about whether it should be continues. The specific children who were harmed deserve the specific acknowledgement. The specific children who were not harmed but who were transformed, who came back as a specific different people to the specific families who had sent the specific particular child away, also deserve the specific acknowledgement that the specific transformation was real and that the specific cost was real, even when the specific circumstances were not the specific harmful ones. The label on Peter's coat, the distance in Margaret's class, the cold house in Wales, all of them are the evacuation. All of them are the specific cost of the specific decision to send 3.5 million children away from their parents to save their lives from the specific bombs. The bombs would have killed more. The separation changed more. Both are true. The specific full accounting requires holding both. His name was Peter. He had grown up in a small London terrace house in Stepney, the specific East End working-class London that the specific Blitz was about to hit hardest, with his mother and his father and his younger sister. His father was away before the evacuation began, conscripted into the army in the weeks before September 1939. So it was his mother who brought him to Paddington and tied the label to his coat and held him very tightly for a moment and then released him to the specific wave of the specific evacuation. He was sent to a farm in Shropshire, not a farm in the dramatic rural idle sense. The specific working farm of the specific Shropshire Hill country, the specific animals and the specific mud, and the specific physical labor that the specific farming family performed daily. He had never been outside London before. He had never seen a cow. He had never been in a house with a garden. He had never been in a place where you could not hear the specific noise of the specific city, the specific buses and the specific markets, and the specific accumulated sound of 1 million people living together. He was placed with a farming family, a husband and wife in their 40s, no children of their own, who had agreed to receive evacuees because the specific county's building authority had assigned them, and because the specific character of the specific people was the specific character of the people who comply with what is asked of them, when what is asked of them is a specific reasonable thing. They were not warm people in the specific demonstrative sense. They were the specific kind and specific capable people who showed their care through the specific practical acts of the specific care rather than through the specific verbal expressions of it. Peter had grown up in a home where the specific verbal and physical expressions of the specific affection were the specific ordinary currency. His mother was a specific demonstrative mother, the hugging and specific endearments, and the specific ongoing vocal love that the specific working-class East London family gave to its children. The farming family in Shropshire did not express affection this way. They expressed it through the specific meals and the specific clean clothes and the specific warm bed and the specific reliable structure of the specific daily life. He was confused by this. He understood, after some time, that the specific absence of the specific verbal and physical affection did not mean the specific absence of the specific care. But the understanding came slowly, and the specific period of confusion, the specific months in which he was not sure whether the specific people in the specific farmhouse wanted him or merely tolerated him, was a specific period that produced a specific loneliness that he described in the memoir he wrote in 1985. He wrote, "I was not unhappy. I want to be clear about this. I was not unhappy in Shropshire. The specific Thompsons, that is not their name, but it is a name that serves, were specific good people who gave me the specific practical things that the specific child needs. I was warm. I was fed. I was safe from the Blitz that was destroying the specific streets of the specific Stepney I had come from. I was not unhappy. I was also not home. The specific distinction between the specific not unhappy and the specific home is a specific distinction that the specific for years required me to learn. Not being unhappy is the specific negative condition, the specific absence of the specific acute suffering. Home is a specific positive condition, the specific presence of the specific place, and the specific people, and the specific sense of belonging that is the specific foundation on which the specific child builds. I had the specific not unhappy. I did not have the specific home. For 4 years. He described this with a specific precision that 40 years of thinking about it had produced. He had spent 40 years understanding what had happened to him. The specific child he had been, the specific experience he had had, the specific effect it had produced in the specific adult he had become. The memoir was a specific public form of the specific 40 years of the specific understanding. What the specific 4 years in Shropshire had produced in him was the specific quality of the self-sufficiency that the specific earlier episodes in this series have described in other specific contexts, the specific capability of the person who has learned, in the specific formative years, to manage the specific emotional life without the specific primary attachment figure. He had learned to manage without his mother. He had done it in the specific way that children manage, with a specific adaptive resilience of a child who finds the specific available resources and uses them, and who builds a specific capacity for the specific self-management in the specific absence of the specific other management. The specific capacity he built was real, and it served him. He was, by his own accounting, a functional and successful adult, a career in the specific civil service, a marriage that lasted 37 years, children who did not know the specific extent of what the specific evacuation had shaped in their father. He had built the specific adult life with the specific available materials. He had also, in the specific private accounting of the memoir, the specific ongoing difficulty with the specific intimacy that the specific 4 years of the specific self-management had produced, not an inability. He had been married for 37 years and had children and had maintained the specific relationships that the specific adult life requires, but a specific wariness, the specific quality of the person who has learned in the specific most formative years that the specific primary attachment can be disrupted and who has therefore maintained throughout the specific adult life the specific internal distance that the specific wariness requires. He described this in the memoir as a specific cost he had been least able to name for the specific longest time, the specific other costs, the specific loneliness in Shropshire, the specific confusion about the specific non-demonstrative Thompsons, the specific difficulty of the return he had been able to name earlier because they were the specific concrete experiences of the specific concrete events. The specific wariness about the specific intimacy was a specific less concrete pattern, the specific thing that was not in the specific events but in the specific texture of the specific adult life, visible to him only when he had the specific sufficient distance to see it. He saw it. He named it. He put it in the memoir. The return in 1943, when Peter was 10 after 4 years, was the specific most difficult part of the specific experience, and the specific part that the specific literature on the specific evacuation has only recently begun to address with the specific seriousness it deserves. He had been in Shropshire since he was 6. He had learned to manage without his mother. He had learned the specific rhythms of the specific farmhouse and the specific Thompsons and the specific Shropshire landscape. He had become, in the specific way of the specific child over specific 4 years, the specific person that the specific Shropshire life had made him. Not entirely. Not the specific wholesale replacement of the specific London child, but the specific shape of him had changed in the specific 4 years, and the specific shape he was returning to London with was not the specific shape he had left with. His mother was not the same either. She had survived the Blitz, had been in Stepney when the specific bombs were falling, had lost the specific neighbors and the specific streets and the specific people who had been the specific community of the specific Stepney life. She had survived it, and she had changed in the surviving of it, in the specific ways that the specific 4 years of the specific Blitz survival produces. They were strangers who knew each other. The specific mother who had sent the specific 6-year-old to Paddington in 1939, and the specific 10-year-old who returned from Shropshire in 1943 recognized each other. The specific face, the specific voice, the specific fundamental recognition, and were also, in a specific sense, meeting each other for the first time. She hugged him at the station. He let himself be hugged in the specific way of the person who understands that the specific hug is the specific thing the specific moment requires, while being aware that the specific hug felt both familiar and unfamiliar simultaneously. He was home. He was also not entirely sure what home was anymore, after 4 years of the specific not unhappy, in the specific Shropshire farmhouse. He did not tell her this. He was 10 years old. He did not have the specific language for what he was experiencing, and if he had had the language, he would not have used it, because the specific 10-year-old who has survived 4 years of the specific self-management does not volunteer the specific admission of the specific difficulty to the specific parent who is holding him and cry with the specific relief of the specific reunification. He held her back. He came home. He began the specific process of the specific reintegration that the specific official account said should be simple, and that the specific experience of the specific thousands of children said was not. He lived to 84. He wrote the memoir at 62. He died in 2013. The specific label that had been tied to his coat at Paddington Station in September 1939. The specific piece of cardboard with his name and his mother's name and the specific number assigned by the specific evacuation authority was in his desk drawer when he died. His daughter found it. She understood immediately why he had kept it. It was the specific most concrete evidence of the specific most formative experience. He was 6 years old, and he had a label tied to his coat, and he was sent away from his mother, and the label was the specific proof that it had happened. He kept the label. He wrote the memoir. He named the things. That is a full accounting of the boy who was sent away from London to survive, and who came back 4 years later to a specific home that was both the same home and a different home, and who spent the rest of his life understanding what the specific 4 years had made of him. The specific reunion between Peter and his mother at the London station in 1943, the specific moment of the specific return after 4 years, deserves the specific attention that the memoir gives it, because it is a specific, most concrete representation of what the evacuation ultimately produced. He was 10 years old. He had been 6 when she had tied the label to his coat and released him to the platform crowd. For years, more than half his entire life, had passed in the specific Shropshire farmhouse with the specific Thompsons and the specific farm animals and the specific Shropshire light. She was waiting on the platform. She had aged 4 years, too. But the specific aging of the woman who has survived the specific Blitz is a different aging from the specific growing of the child who has been in the specific safe country. She had been in the specific bombing. She had slept in the specific shelter. She had lost the specific neighbors and the specific streets. She was a specific same woman, and also the specific older woman, and also the specific woman who had been through the specific things that had not been in the specific Shropshire. He saw her before she saw him. He had a moment, a specific few seconds, in which he looked at her from a distance and recognized her, and also understood, in a specific way that a 10-year-old understands without articulating, that the specific person he was looking at in the specific image of his mother he had been carrying for 4 years were the specific same person and also subtly different people. She had changed. He had changed. The specific gap between them was a specific gap of 4 years of the specific different experiences. Then she saw him. She moved toward him very fast. She held him very tightly. He let himself be held. He was aware, even at 10, of the specific complexity of the specific holding, the specific relief of the specific contact with the specific primary attachment after the specific 4 years, and also the specific awareness that the specific contact was both familiar and slightly unfamiliar, because the specific 4 years had done what 4 years does to the specific relationship. He held her back. He did not tell her about the specific, complex thing he was experiencing. He was 10 years old. She was crying with the specific relief of the specific reunification. He held her. That specific moment. The 10-year-old boy being held by his mother on the London station platform after 4 years, aware of both the specific familiarity and the specific slight unfamiliarity of the specific holding, is a specific image that the memoir builds toward and that the specific full accounting of the evacuation requires. The specific official account ends at the station. The children came back safely. The specific memoir continues past the station. The specific children came back safely and were also not quite the same children as the ones who had left, and the specific families they came back to were also not quite the same families. And the specific resumption of the specific life was the specific ongoing work of the specific years after the station rather than the specific simple event that the station represented. He held her on the platform. He came home. He spent the rest of his life understanding what the specific 4 years had made of him. He understood it well enough to write the memoir at 62. He understood it well enough to name the specific wariness that the specific self-management had produced. He understood it well enough to be honest about the specific gap between the specific not unhappy and the specific home. He was honest about it. He named it. He kept the label with his name and his mother's name, and the number assigned by the specific authority is in his daughter's keeping now. She knows what it is and why he kept it. She is the specific next keeper of the specific evidence that the specific thing happened. He was sent away. He survived. He came back. He never came back exactly the same. The label is in the world. The memoir is in the world. The story is being told. That is enough. That is the full accounting of the war children who were sent away from London to survive and who never came back the same. The specific broader question of what the evacuation means for the specific contemporary understanding of the specific child's specific needs, particularly the specific need for the specific primary attachment, is one that the specific developmental psychology has answered with increasing specificity since the specific Bowlby's attachment theory was first published in the specific 1950s and 1960s. John Bowlby, who was a British child psychiatrist who had studied the specific effects of the specific separation on the specific children during and after the specific war, developed the specific attachment theory in direct response to what he had observed in the specific evacuated children and the specific other children who had experienced the specific separation from the specific primary caregivers. His specific theory, that the specific child requires a specific secure attachment to the specific primary caregiver as the specific foundation for the specific healthy development, and that the specific disruption of the specific attachment has the specific consequences, was a specific direct product of the specific observations of the specific generation. The evacuation made Bowlby's theory possible, not in the specific sense that he needed the specific evacuation to develop the specific theory. He was also observing the specific children in the specific institutional care and the specific other forms of the specific separation that did not require the specific Blitz, but the specific scale of the specific evacuation and the specific availability of the specific children who had experienced a specific separation and who could be studied in the specific subsequent years provided the specific evidence that the specific theory required. The specific irony that the specific harm to the specific children produced a specific theory that the specific subsequent generations of the specific children benefited from is a specific form of the specific knowledge that the specific suffering sometimes produces. The specific evacuated children paid the specific cost. The specific theory that emerged from the specific study of the specific cost has informed the specific care of the specific children in the specific subsequent decades. Peter did not know about Bowlby. He wrote the memoir before the specific public conversation about the specific attachment theory had reached the specific general public in the specific form that would have given him the specific language. But the specific things he described in the memoir, the specific self-sufficiency, the specific wariness, the specific difficulty with the specific intimacy, are the specific clinical manifestations of the specific insecure attachment that the specific Bowlby framework describes. He found the specific language in the specific psychology that was available to him in 1985, which was imperfect but sufficient. He named the specific things. He understood them well enough to write them down and to give them to the specific readers who needed to find their own specific things in the specific account. Some of those readers were the specific other evacuees, the specific adults of the specific same generation who recognized, in Peter's specific account, the specific aspects of their specific own specific experience that they had not previously been able to name. The memoir found them. They wrote to him. He received the letters. He wrote, in a letter he sent to one of them, that the specific most useful thing about the specific memoir had been the specific discovery that the specific experience had not been the specific singular experience, that the specific things he had described were the specific recognizable things to the specific other evacuees, and that the specific recognition confirmed that the specific things were the specific real things and not the specific individual specific distortion of specific experience. He was right. The specific things were the specific real things. The specific evacuation had produced the specific recognizable patterns in the specific recognizable generation. The specific individual memoirs were the specific instances of the specific general specific experience. They are in the world, these memoirs. Peter's is in several libraries. The specific oral histories are in the archives. The specific label is in the specific daughter's keeping. The specific boy on the platform was one of 3.5 million. They were all sent away. They all came back. None of them came back exactly the same. The label is in the world. The story is being told. The specific children who were not evacuated, who remained in London through the specific Blitz and experienced the specific bombs directly, had the specific different specific experience, and the comparison illuminates the specific nature of the specific evacuation specific cost. The children who remained in London experienced the specific fear, the specific disruption, the specific violence of the specific Blitz, the specific bombs falling, the specific fires, the specific deaths of the specific neighbors, and the specific people of the specific London streets. This was a specific traumatic experience that the specific developmental psychology has documented as producing the specific consequences in the specific children who were exposed. The specific finding that the children who remained in London with their parents generally fared better psychologically than the children who were evacuated to safe areas is one of the more counterintuitive findings of the specific research on the specific generation. The specific bombs were the specific, more dramatic danger. The specific separation across the specific children produced the specific, more pervasive harm. The specific explanation is a specific attachment theory. The specific child with a specific secure attachment to the specific primary caregiver can manage the specific external danger more effectively than the specific child without it. The specific bomb is the specific external threat. The specific parent is the specific secure base. The specific child who is in the specific danger with the specific parent has a specific resource that the specific child who is in the specific safety without the specific parent does not have. Peter was safe in Shropshire. He was also without his mother. The specific London child in the specific Anderson shelter with the specific mother was in danger, and also with the specific resource that the specific danger requires. This is a specific finding. It is not the specific simple moral that the specific evacuation was wrong. The specific bombs killed the specific people, and the specific children who remained in London were at the specific real risk of the specific death that the specific evacuation addressed. But it is a specific, more complete picture. The specific separation, even in the specific safe environment, has a specific cost, and the specific cost is a specific real cost that the specific full accounting requires. Peter was safe. He paid the specific cost of the specific safety. He named it 40 years later in the specific memoir. Margaret was safe in Exeter. She paid the specific cost of the specific class transformation, not the specific harmful cost, but the specific cost of the specific person who has been formed by the specific different environment and who returns to the specific original environment as a specific somewhat different person. Thomas was not safe in Wales. He paid the most specific cost of the specific placement in the specific harmful household. All three paid. The specific bombs did not touch them. The specific separation had its own specific reach. The specific research confirms this. The specific memoirs confirm this. The specific generation of the specific evacuees confirms this. They were sent away to survive. They survived. The survival had a cost that the specific official account did not fully record. Peter recorded it in the memoir. Margaret described it in the interviews she gave to oral historians. Thomas described it in the specific oral history interview that placed a specific accounting in the specific record. They named it. The naming is in the world. The specific Blitz itself, the specific context that produced a specific evacuation decision, is worth describing briefly for a specific reader who may not have the specific immediate knowledge of the specific intensity of the specific event. The Blitz began on September 7, 1940, a full year after the specific evacuation had begun, and continued in its most intense phase for 57 consecutive nights, after which it continued intermittently until May 1941. During this period, approximately 43,000 British civilians were killed, more than half of them in London, the specific East End, Peter's specific Stepney, Margaret's specific Bethnal Green, the specific working-class districts where the specific working-class families lived in the specific dense terrace housing that the specific bombs were most effective against, was among the specific hardest-hit areas. The specific bombs were real. The specific danger was real. The specific decision to evacuate was a specific reasonable response to specific real danger. The specific question of whether the specific decision was made with the specific sufficient attention to the specific psychological cost of the specific separation, whether the specific government that made the specific decision understood the specific harm that the specific decision would produce in the specific 3.5 million children who were separated from the specific parents, is a specific question that the specific post-war research has answered in the specific negative. They did not understand. The specific psychology of the specific attachment had not been developed in the specific form that would have informed the specific decision. They were acting on the specific available knowledge, which told them that the specific physical safety was the specific primary requirement, and they addressed the specific physical safety. They did not address the specific psychological cost, because they did not know to address it. Peter did not know to name it until he was 62. The specific research that would have told the specific 1939 government that the specific separation had the specific cost did not exist in the specific accessible form until the specific 1950s and 1960s. The specific decision was made in the specific good faith of the specific available knowledge. The specific cost was paid by the specific children anyway. Both things are true. Peter was sent away in the specific good faith of the specific government and the specific mother who trusted the specific government. He paid the specific cost anyway. He named it in the memoir. This is a specific final accounting of the specific evacuation. The specific good faith does not eliminate the specific cost. The specific cost deserves a specific acknowledgement regardless of the specific faith in which the specific decision was made. The specific children paid. The specific acknowledgement is the specific thing the specific accounting owes them. He was 6 years old on the platform at Paddington. He wore the label. The train left. His mother's face disappeared. He came back at 10. He held his mother on the platform. He went home. He spent a lifetime understanding what the specific 4 years had made of him. He named it. The naming is in the world. The label is in his daughter's keeping. The specific boy on the platform is in the memoir. The specific generation of the specific 3.5 million is in the specific record. They were sent away to survive. They survived. They never came back quite the same. That is enough. That is everything. That is a full accounting of the war children who were sent away from London to survive and who never came back the same. The specific individual story of Margaret, the specific working-class London girl who went to Exeter and came back speaking differently, deserves the specific full telling that the narrative has abbreviated. She was born in 1931 in Bethnal Green, the second of 4 children, her father a docker, her mother a seamstress who did piecework at home. The specific household was the specific loving and specific chaotic household of the specific working-class London family. Specific warmth and specific noise, and the specific presence of the specific extended family in the specific immediate neighborhood. She was sent to Exeter in September 1939, 8 years old, on the specific first wave of the specific evacuation. The specific Exeter family, a schoolmaster and his wife, received her with a specific particular kindness that the specific particular people with a specific particular character offer. They had no children of their own. They were, by Margaret's account, genuinely glad to have her. They also spoke differently, not a different language. The specific standard English of the specific educated middle class, rather than the specific East London accent that Margaret had grown up with. They ate differently. The specific meals were different. The specific table manners were different. The specific expectations around the specific table were different. The specific schoolmaster's wife gave Margaret the specific books that the specific Exeter household had, and that the specific Bethnal Green household did not. Margaret read the books. She attended the specific school that the specific Exeter children attended. The specific schoolmaster helped her with the specific homework in the evenings. She was, by the age of 12, reading and speaking and thinking in ways that the specific Bethnal Green household had not produced and would not have produced. She returned to London in 1944 at 13, speaking with an accent that her mother recognized as not quite her daughter's original accent, with expectations about the specific future that the specific Bethnal Green community did not share. Her mother was proud and confused simultaneously. Her father found her different in ways he could not quite name and that he did not entirely welcome. She went to university on the specific scholarship that the specific wartime education reforms had made available. She was the first person in the specific family history to attend university. She became a secondary school teacher and taught English literature for 31 years. She did not regret the evacuation. She was careful about this. Careful because she understood that the specific others had paid the specific different cost. And she did not want to present her specific class transformation as a specific simple good when it was a specific complicated thing. But she did not regret it for herself. The specific 4 years in Exeter had given her the specific access to the specific world that the specific Bethnal Green had not contained, and she had used the access and it had produced a specific life. She was, however, the specific person who had been made by an accident of the specific placement into the specific different kind of person from the specific kind the specific family had expected. The specific family had sent a specific Bethnal Green child to Exeter. They received a specific, somewhat different person 4 years later. The specific transformation was real, and the specific family lived with the specific transformation, warmly, as families do, but also with the specific awareness of the specific distance that the specific transformation had produced. The specific distance is the specific cost that the specific class transformation carries, not the specific harm that Thomas carried, not the specific wariness that Peter carried. The specific particular distance between the specific person who was transformed and the specific family that had sent the specific particular original child away. She loved her parents. She was a specific different person. Both were true for the rest of the specific life. She died in 2004. Her children, university educated, the specific next generation of the specific class mobility the evacuation had started, carried the specific story. 3 children, 3 specific costs, 3 specific lives built with those costs. Peter's label, Margaret's distance, Thomas's cold house. All of them are the evacuation. All of them are the specific war that sent the specific children away to survive. They survived. They never came back quite the same. That is a specific full accounting of the specific 3.5 million. The specific final image I want to leave this episode with is not the label on Peter's coat. Though the label is a specific image, I carry most from a specific story. It is an image from a specific memoir of a woman named Dorothy, another evacuee, who was sent at age 7 to a farm in Yorkshire and who returned at 11 to her Birmingham family. She wrote, "On the day I left Yorkshire, the farmer's wife gave me a small jar of honey from their bees. She said nothing when she gave it. She was not a woman who said things easily. I carried the jar all the way to Birmingham. My mother opened it for breakfast and said it was lovely. I did not tell her that the honey was goodbye. I did not tell her what it meant that Mrs. Atkinson had given it to me. I could not have explained. I was 11, but I have thought about that jar of honey for 60 years. The specific moment of the specific woman giving the specific child the specific small thing on the specific last morning, not the specific words. The specific honey. She had cared for me. The honey was a specific way she could say so. I was a specific child who had been left with her by the specific government, and I was now going back to the specific family, and the specific honey was a specific way she could say what the specific for years had been. I received it. I carried it to Birmingham. It lasted 2 weeks. The honey is gone. The jar is gone. The specific morning on the specific Yorkshire farm when the specific woman gave the specific child the specific small jar of the specific thing she had made from the specific bees in the specific field is not gone. It is in the specific memoir that Dorothy wrote at 67, and it is in the specific record that the specific keeping of the specific story maintains. That is a specific full picture of the evacuation. Not only the specific label and the specific platform and the specific bombs it was saving them from, also the specific honey, the specific small acts of the specific care in the specific households where the specific children were kept, the specific people who gave what they had to give to the specific children who had been sent to them. Peter had the specific Thompsons who gave the specific practical care. Margaret had the specific schoolmaster and his wife who gave the specific books. Dorothy had Mrs. Atkinson who gave the specific honey. They were not their parents. They were the specific available people in the specific available places. They gave what they had. The children received it. They came home. They carried what they had been given, the specific self-sufficiency, the specific class mobility, the specific cold house, and the specific small jar of the specific honey on the specific last morning. They were sent away to survive. They survived. They came back with the specific things the specific for years had given them. They never came back quite the same. That is the specific full accounting. Subscribe and share this story. The war children of the London evacuation carried a cost that has not been fully acknowledged. It deserves to be named.